Hey everyone, it's Andy here from Saving to Invest. And just wanted to give another update on enhanced unemployment benefits. That's the PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, PEUC, Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, and the $300 weekly federal pandemic unemployment compensation. All these enhanced benefits that are federally funded, they've all been extended to September 2021 under the Biden ARP bill. And I just want to discuss those extensions, some of the variations, and what's going to happen with these over the next few weeks as states implement them. As always, if you find this information useful here, please hit the like button and keep subscribing to get videos like this on taxes, unemployment, saving, investing, and other cool personal finance topics. So I've created this graphic here to just summarize all the different unemployment extensions based on the stimulus program that funded them. You can see on top here, I've got the stimulus package, and this started off with the CARES Act, which initially created some of these programs and funded some of the ones that had been in place. That was then extended by the CAA COVID Relief Bill, Continued Assistance Act, and then most recently the Biden Rescue Plan, which is the third stimulus program, which also included a bunch of stimulus checks. So these have been now all approved and passed, and essentially what these allowed was Congress to fund this unemployment programs. So I'm not going to focus on the yellow bar, which is the regular state unemployment and extended benefits. I have a separate article on that, and every state manages that differently. But what I want to focus on is the enhanced one. So the first one, which is the pandemic emergency unemployment compensation, this is for people who could get regular UI or extended benefits but ran out of that. So these PUC was really to help them get through the pandemic. It was initially funded for 13 weeks under CARES, then extended by 11 weeks under the COVID relief bill. It had a phase out period until April 10th, but essentially ended March 14th. Then what's happened with the Biden relief bill, they've come in and extended this PEUC program from March 20th to September 4th. It's technically September 6th, but for most states, it's week ending September 4th. One thing to note here as well is I'm saying 25 weeks because that is the actual time between the week ending March 20th and September 4th. The actual ARP bill text did say 29 weeks, and you may hear that it's 29 weeks. There is not 29 weeks between March 20th and September 4th. You can go calculate that, and it caused a lot of confusion. So it is meant to essentially be an extension of the previous extension, so it technically covers the whole year. But if you got those 11 weeks, you'll only get 25 weeks, and you can only backdate it to the week ending March 20th. So it's really only 25-week extension for most people. Now, of course, if Congress allows you to have a phase out or extends it, you'll get the extra 4 weeks. But I'm looking at this as a 25-week extension for all the different programs. Pandemic unemployment assistance, which is really for those people who don't qualify for regular unemployment. And I'll shortly discuss as well how some of these programs will work for different groups of people. Like the PEUC program, this is designed for those freelancers, gig workers, but who couldn't get regular UI. So if you could get regular UI or extended benefits, you generally were able to get PEUC. But obviously, this large group of people like freelancers and contractors who couldn't get regular state unemployment, so couldn't get PEUC, had the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program created for them. And this is the coverage is the same as PUC in total. So it started 39 weeks, then 11 weeks under the COVID relief bill extension, and then under the Biden bill again, officially 29 weeks, but 25 weeks of actual weeks of coverage, which take you from week ending March 20th to September 4th. Again, some states do have a September 5th end date and March 21st, but it is 25 weeks. And then if you in any of those two above programs or in any other state funded program, because if you started unemployment late, you'll still qualify for that, or you've gone into a new benefit year, you'll still be able to get the supplementary payments. These are those weekly supplementary payments on top, above and beyond the regular unemployment. So FPUC is the $300 weekly payment. This is again 25 weeks, same coverage period, March 20th to September 4th. You can see more details. I've got a bunch of articles, savingtoinvest.com/FPUC, FPUA, PUC, whatever topic I've got it covered here. You can go look at it, especially with the state tracker, which states are paying it. But the $300 payment is available for a lot of states right now, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And the other program which was extended was the MEUC, which is the Mixed Earners Unemployment Compensation. This is for those people who are not in the PUA program but had mixed income, which means they could have had a regular wage job plus also side hustle, contracting. A lot of people in the entertainment industry, sports tend to be in this situation. So there was an unfair advantage where if they had qualified for PUA, they would have got a higher unemployment compensation. So this extra $100 payment was enacted as part of the COVID relief bill to fill the gap. So that $100 is on top of the $300. Now, a lot of states are still implementing the original 11-week extension, but this 25 weeks will be added in. Like all these programs, as states roll it out, payments will be made retroactively and you'll be lump sums to catch you up. So I've done several videos on this and articles for more information, which I'll post some links to below as well. Another nice slide that I like here is this is from a state unemployment agency that published how this extensions would work. And I like the way this sort of put it all together. So the previous graphic was showing sort of the whole perspective from a coverage period. This is actually showing it from claimant groups. So starting from the top, the pathway is if you're eligible for regular UI, you first have to use your regular UI. If you're getting that, you will get the $300 extra payment per week, the FPUC program. And then you can qualify for the PEUC program, which provides up to 53 weeks at maximum. Again, it's 11 plus 25 plus the original 13, which is around 49, but the ARP did have 53 in total. You can also get the $300 FPUC payment if you get that. So basically, that's the standard track for most people who have regular UI, who are essentially W2 income earners. Then there's that next category in the pink, which if you had regular UI, PUC, and MEUC, and you have proof of income, you can also get that $100 MEUC, which I referred to below. So you can see it's there in the second section. It pretty much works the same as the regular UI, but if you had mixed income, you get that extra $100 income. So it can become a pretty substantial amount. And then in the red, if you, again, were eligible for regular UI, but you lost employment due to COVID-related reasons, you can get the regular UI, FPUC, PUC, and you can still qualify PUA, which is interesting. So this is a unique case where because your job or you couldn't restart work due to COVID-related reasons, you actually can get the PUA if you got PUC and regular UI before. So that gives you a lot of weeks of coverage, and most people won't be able to use it physically in the amount of weeks we have between 2020 and 2021, but you have essentially a broad level of coverage. Now, as employers return back to work and people that put in restrictions, you won't be able to do this. And there is a lot of checks by state unemployment agencies that you're not double dipping, and you can't claim PUC and PUA at the same time. And then the last category is for those people who just could not get regular unemployment, they can then get the 79 weeks of PUA. Again, it's more like 75 because the 4 extra weeks under the ARP are really not going to be claimable just given the coverage period. But if you can backdate things and all the facts, you can get up to 79. And then the $300 weekly payment will be available to you as well if you get that. So those are the pathways that you can get to this unemployment. Feel free to rewind the video. I'll post some more information below. Hopefully this was useful and this helps a lot of people. Again, just a few related questions I've been getting on this. So the Department of Labor has now issued guidelines to the states to implement those Biden ARP extensions. The state UI agencies will administer the program, and the funding comes federally, so they have to wait for the Department of Labor to provide the guidelines. This is now being done. So several states are rolling this out with the guidelines. Some are slower than others. The usual Nevada, Virginia, Wisconsin, California, they're struggling to roll these out. They're still paying out under the original 11-week CAA program, which they're still implementing, for example, the MEUC program. So it's slow. I have a state tracker, savingtoinvest.com/FPUC. You can see it there, which shows you the different states and how they're rolling out these programs and if they're applying the extended weeks. But the Department of Labor guidelines have been provided. So agencies that say they don't have that, that's not true. You can go to the dol.gov site and see those guidelines for yourself if you want. So as I mentioned, this seems to be the case with even the previous extension or the original implementation. The timeline will vary. States implementing this, it'll take a while. Like I said, it's not consistent. A lot of them have very old systems, very short staff. So even small tweaks, even though this race and extension was pretty similar to the previous one, with just an extension of the number of weeks, already states like New Jersey are saying that it's going to take them a while. And the Department of Labor has said they have until mid-April, and they expect it could take even longer than that for some places. But mid-April, most states should have all these extended weeks available to people. And if you can get those extended weeks, you'll also get the $300 payment, which will be automatically applied on top of that. And like I said before, the extra 300 payments is retroactive. So even if you get into the PUA program, for example, you've exhausted your benefits and you're waiting for the states to update their systems, you will be retroactively paid both for your underlying unemployment benefit, but also the back pay for the $300 and the $100 payments. So you will eventually be caught up. And I know some people are still being caught up for the previous 11-week extension under CAA. But again, like this one, states will catch up and pay out. They have until, this program runs till the first week of September. So I expect by summer, most people will be caught up and they'll just be able to claim it. The good news is also because the number of unemployed people is getting less, there's less pressure on states in terms of the amount of volume they have to handle. Again, like I've covered in previous videos, fraud checks, identity checks, documentation checks are much higher now. So people who are getting blocked may have to jump through a few more hoops to get the payment. But I think the programs and IT systems will be updated by mid-April for most states, and then retroactive payments will be made. Hopefully that was useful to you. Thanks.